Dr. Lushaba, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon.
In your work at the moment, you're dealing with talent management, and what do you specifically focus on?
My specific area of focus is coaching, because development of talent is a very important issue, particularly if we are going to be successful in developing leadership that will be in a position to take us to the next level as Africa in particular. So that's what I mainly do. I also do lots of training on corporate governance, also as part of ensuring that we shape leadership that actually is going to deliver a legacy of pride for all of us.
How do we make sure that Africa is geared up in terms of skills and leadership and talent?
It has to be also a deliberate strategy, similar to the growth strategy that we're seeing now starting to bear fruits for Africa. We have to focus on development, particularly, as I said, of leadership. One of the things that's very clear to us as a challenge for us in the continent is that our leadership development is still very disaggregated. For instance, if you look at the main sectors of our streams in the continent, being government, civil society and business, we still see a lot of the leadership that actually exists in those areas having developed separately. We don't have common ground where we actually understand our role in the trajectory of Africa's development, and a lot of opportunities exist where all of these sectors have to come together with a single purpose in mind in as far as development of the continent is concerned. And I think that's one of the major challenges in developing talent going forward. Not one of us is going to be able to succeed to develop the continent either as a country or as a sector. We've got to understand right from the way we develop leaders and talent generally at universities, at different institutes, even at schools, that we've got to create common ground in order for us to make our way forward.
And of course, Africa being a unique place, so many languages, so many different cultures, it requires a different leadership component and set to the rest of the world.
Yes.
How do we make sure that we develop an African leadership and talent management that can meet the needs of our continent?
Well, we've got to first of all have broad agreement in terms of where we're taking this continent. What are we trying to achieve? Broad purposes that we can rally our people around. So in the whole approach to talent management, we've got to substantiate the talent with very bold strategies, very bold plans that actually take this continent to its next level.
How do we now address the how? Is it government and schooling that develops talent?
In the case of us as a continent, I think it's going to be extremely important that business comes very close. I always, when we do corporate governance programs, for instance, under corporate citizenship, challenge leaders of or captains of industry in as far as just getting to know what is happening in the local schools where your operations are located. Where are the kids that are going to develop tomorrow into leaders of this continent, and nurturing them, finding time, not necessarily just money, because whenever we talk business, we always think the only thing that's required from business is money. There's a lot of skill and expertise. I always say that the challenge of leadership is to ensure that the next set of leaders are actually equipped to perform better than ourselves. I mean, there's simple issues these days that the rest of the world concerns itself with, like coding, for instance, in terms of computing, that we seem not to be paying any attention to. Our curriculum has to make sure that we nurture people that are actually going to become world leaders, because that's the only way they'll be able to lead Africa. And then take it further to institutions of higher learning. We also have to ensure that all sectors, hands on the deck, we actually drive the whole issue of developing talent at those levels. But where I participate mostly, it's in the area of coaching, where these days it's extremely important that you have sounding boards around you. You know, the whole art of success these days is the networks and the quality of the networks you keep around yourselves.
If we look at our continent, and more specifically our country, an overwhelming majority of people come from very disadvantaged background, where you'll find someone's a first-generation university graduate. and in their immediate settings, they don't have those networks. How do we bring people like that into a network structure that can develop?
And that's why, in my view, Jose, we have to be very deliberate. It's not just about what you've studied from the book. It's also understanding how you navigate your way around, how you create networks, how you maintain those networks, and how you use them to enrich whatever that you are doing in your life.
One of the things that's also, I guess, part of the challenge in terms of talent in the country and on the continent as a whole is the role of women in terms of leadership and also being developed. How do we address that and make sure that we've got women also being part and parcel of the development?
That's an even bigger challenge, Jose, for this continent, particularly because if we face the truth, culturally, we've also not been very nurturing and providing opportunities to women. And it's all these programs that I've referred to in as far as supporting and nurturing talent are a lot more important. But over and above that, we've got to educate all of us on the importance to tap into all the talent that we have, because women also provide different types of talents that are going to be needed and are going to be useful. So I think all of us are challenged when it comes to that, because we've got to go beyond the hurdles of just the programs to transforming the way that we've looked at the role of women culturally, and transforming the way that we provide opportunities and tap into talent that's actually being offered by ladies. So it's not a journey that is got to be walked only by women. I guess all the men folk as well have that responsibility.